Okay, this is Richard Tapia, voice of Jones County, and I'm here with John Gualtier, World War II vet, served in the European theater, was one of the liberators of prison camps in Austria, 97 years old, originally from Ohio, but has been in Iowa since 1969. And I want to be able to catch his words, his ideas before it's too late. So John, thank you for doing this. Thank you for everything you've done. And thank you for accepting we want to name our group after you.
Thank you for doing this, for doing it for veterans, doing it for people whoever it benefits. What do you want me to go into now? Just
Well, give me a little bit of your background. Where in Ohio are you from?
yeah, well, I was born and raised in the state of Ohio, about 13 miles west of Akron, Ohio, and I went to school there. Played football, boxed, got a few trophies in the class. Imagine they're still in there, I don't know. And then when I was 17, I went to work for a construction company for a few weeks, and then I went into the Army. I went to Camp Brockley, Texas, took my basic training as a medic, and then I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, the paratrooper school. And,
What year was this? What year was this?
44.
44.
44. And I decided I sure didn't want to be a paratrooper, so they put me in the 71st Infantry Division. I asked for immediate combat, and I got it. So then I went to, took a little more training there, and then we went to Boston, Massachusetts, got on a ship. 29 days later, well, on the way over, our sister ship got hit, torpedo, I imagine what happened. And we got warning to get ready to go overboard. And they threw all the rope ladders over the side of the ship. And thank God we didn't have to go over. We'd have probably lost a lot more men.
Wow.
We landed on the coast of England, spent a couple of days there, and went across the bay after Normandy, and we went into combat. We weren't allowed to carry a gun. The sharpest thing we had was a pair of bandage scissors. We had 10 vials of morphine, about an inch maybe high, a little round, and then we had our scissors, first aid kit, stuff that got sulfadiazine that we would put into the wound, and that was it. Then we went into combat, and the first day we went into combat, I ran into a German and an English soldier. They were both dead, and the German soldier had a bottle of wine and some kind of sandwich, I guess, was eating. And then we got a call to move forward. There was a lot of guys pinned down, and they needed medics bad, so up we went. I had 3 guys with me all the time. There was always 4 of us. We ate together, we slept together, we did everything together. It took 4 guys to carry a litter. We didn't have the helicopter then. We had to carry them everywhere till we got them to an ambulance. And then they'd go back to the hospital, and then we'd go forward. We got called that there was a few of them up ahead that need medic bad.
Where did you land when you landed?
Right in England.
But when you were already in the conflict in Europe, where did you land?
La Havre, France. La Havre, France.
La Havre, France.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. You'll see it on the map.
Yeah.
Where was it? And anyhow, we got this call, and we got up there, and there's a little knoll there, and my sergeant said, take care. So I started working on this guy with hip wound, and I'm doctoring him up, and over to my right, 20 feet, 30 feet, there's a veteran there, completely covered by a blanket. And his chest, that meant he was gone.
Yeah.
Okay. So I kept treating my guy. Pretty soon out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw the blanket move again. And I went ahead and finished taking care of my guy. And I walked over and I pulled the blanket down. And he was still alive. He had nothing from the belly button down left. And the gangrene smell, odor hit me, and I passed out, and I rolled down over the little hill there. And my other medics came, and they squeezed that smelling salts in front of my nose, brought me back, and it was a horrible, horrible thing for, my first day at combat.
How old were you then?
Huh?
How old were you?
I was 18.
You were 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty young to be experiencing that.
Then we got a call to go up ahead. There was some up there wounded. And we went, and there was 8 guys there that was soldiers that was wounded. And so we decided, you take 2, you take 2, you take 2, and I take 2. Well, I took the guy with the stomach wound and the head wound. Well, when I walked over to the stomach wound, his stomach was laying on the ground, and he's mumbling for God, and the other guy with the head injury. So I decided my best chance of saving somebody's life was the guy with the head line. And so I treated him. And when I finished up, got the bandage all wrapped around his head and everything, he says, how long will I be blind? I said, you can't see? He said, no. I said, well, this is just a temporary wound. I said, when you get back to the big hospitals, they'll get your eyes straightened out. Well, being a combat medic, you had to lie a lot.
I bet.
You know what I mean? You had to lie a lot, you had to cry a lot. So then we kept moving, day after day, it was same thing. So then we got a phone call. Yeah, about midnight, my first sergeant. It was lightning, thunder, and just pouring down rain. And my major, the battalion major, needed some help. So my sergeant, first he asked for volunteers before he pointed, and my squad volunteered to go. And we went up, and there was an open field there, and there was guys out in there. Oh, it was raining, it poured muddy, and there was guys pinned down. The tracer bullets from the Germans was going maybe 3 feet above their head, and we had to go in there and get them out of there. Well, what we did, the Army taught us how to, I think they called it the fireman's carrier, put up over your shoulders and carry them out, which we tried to do. Well, we couldn't stand up, we'd have got hit for sure. So, what we did, we laid on our back. We got the guys laid across us. Then we took our heels and our elbows, inch by inch by inch. By golly, we got them out of there without getting killed.
Wow.
So, and then we got that done. We got a break, we got a couple of days rest, and caught up a little bit on sea rations and decaf or whatever they had, and got a couple of days rest, and then we went back again, and then it started to, we caught that Siegfried line, you heard that?
Yeah.
We lost some men there. And I was in a building where there was a glass factory. It was right on the edge of Germany and France. And God, they was machine gunning us. And we was crawling under these glass tables. And where the glass was flying everywhere. So if we did get shot with a piece of lead, the glass would have got us. We stood up.
Wow.
But anyhow, we got out of that mess. And it was just a daily, every day, and we got...
Tell me a little bit about when you went into Austria.
Yeah, I get just about ready to tell you that. I'd come in right after that. And rainy season started coming in. A lot of smog, rain, mud. And we're getting ready to get it to go into Austria. And crossed the border, well, just before, on the river before we crossed to go in there, I got hit, I got wounded. So, my guys bandaged me all up, my back, my leg, foot, and I didn't want to get the ambulance to go back to a hospital tent like MASH. I wanted to stay there and still take care of guys, which I did too. And so we started fighting. And then, well, about 2 weeks before the war ended now. And we got that May 4th, May 5th, we got 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was raining, wet, cold. We started smelling stuff. The more we went in, the worse it got. And that was rotten. We could hardly stand the odor. And we went in a little bit further, and there was a group of people, what was left of them. That 200-pound man was down to maybe 80 pounds. And my God, that horse might have been laying there a week. And when they broke through that fence and they spotted that horse, they started eating on it. And we couldn't stop them. And they died right there, eating that horse. So that was the beginning of the concentration camp. Then the Germans probably had left. They figured that they might have left like 3 hours before we got there. And doggone it, they had people in these trenches 4 foot, 6 foot deep. And they would bury them. They were going to take the bulldozer up, add it up at the end, and they were going to bury all of them. Well, a lot of these people were still alive. Well, thank God the Germans didn't have time to get them all buried. So us medics, I was one of the first ones, they went down in this trench and started separating the dead ones from the live. And we got the live ones out of there. We got to the backs, where the barracks was, board building. My God, man, there was 5 of them in these cots with this rotten, stinking straw for mattresses. And there'd be maybe 5 stacked on top of each. And maybe the guy on the bottom of them was still alive. Yeah, it was one of the worst sights you could ever see. So then, and the rats, my God, if the rats bit you, they'd take a hunk out of you. Lice, and it was just a horrible mess. But anyhow, we got in there. We started. I did an old. Well, I thought he was old, but who the heck knows? And I sat down beside of him. You know, he looked up at me, and I don't think he realized I was American yet. But I had a can of sea ration, a hash. I got it open. I sat down, and I put his head over here under my left arm and laid his head there. Then I started picking out little pieces of potatoes out of the can and started feeding him. But he died right there in my arms. That was probably the toughest thing for the war that I, you know.
Do you know what kind of people were in there? There were supposedly a lot of different groups in a concentration camp. Do you know how many?
Well, these were Jewish. This was a Jewish.
They're all just Jews. Wow.
Well, there was other, but I mean, the Jewish was the.
Yeah.
In order to get to that camp, you heard of Mulhausen. They had to march from there to, forget 180 miles or something, without water, without food, to that camp where I was at.
Wow.
I got the thing that you look at it, you know, shows us camps, shows all them dead people in. I got pictures of it.
Did you ever think about why the Germans did something like that?
No, I've done a lot of speaking. Well, I wonder why God let it happen. That's what I wonder. I don't think about that like you mentioned. I think about why did he let that happen? You know, 6 million people.
Well, what do you think?
We lost over 60, the world lost over 60 million people, World War II. And it wasn't just the Jews.
No.
You had the homosexuals, the black. There was about 4 different kind of people.
I think there were also political dissidents in there.
Yeah.
And there were also gypsies.
Gypsies.
Anyone they didn't like, people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Anyone they didn't like.
From say the barracks was here, and they say 40, 60 feet from the barracks. You know what the latrines are? They had latrines, big ones. And then they'd line these people up to go. And if you went before you got to that hole, you were dead. They shot you, killed you.
Wow.
You know, people don't believe this kind of shit, but boy, it happened. It happened. And, you know, you got an 18-year-old kid, you know, lived on a farm, or happy-go-lucky, played football at school. Yeah.
Well, John, you've experienced stuff that most people should not experience, but you went through it. What do you think, what do you want to leave for us that you think is important for us to always remember?
You mean do that war or just?
Just any conflict,
Well,
people killing each other over stupid
oh, it
things.
just makes me sick in my stomach when I quit reading the paper. I don't read the paper because I know there's going to be half a dozen people got killed last night. And it's just, is it any better what's happening today than it did when Hitler was there? See, you got the crazy. And there's nothing I can do about it. I wish I was younger. I'd figure something out. My father, he came from the old country. He loved this country. He served in the army. He taught us kids the same thing. You know, and we went to school. We had, across the street from where I lived, there was 5 acres a guy owned. I'm talking in the 40s, early 40s. And all the neighbors would go together in that 5 acres and plant it with potatoes. They worked the field together. They dug them up together, and then they shared them together. And the wives of these people that did that, every Sunday they'd cook a meal because it'd be over there weeding it. Yeah, that's the way I was brought up. My dad and my neighbor, they had an old Dodge, some kind of Dodge car or truck, and they made a tractor out of it, so we quit having to hoe.
Oh, wow.
It was a tough life, but it was a wonderful life.
Yeah.
You know, I just loved back then the teacher knock you clear out of the damn seat, boy, if you didn't do something right.
Really?
Oh, you know, my teacher had a 12-inch rule about inch square. Oh, I'll tell you, boom, boom. And I had a 280-pound coach, and if you didn't do something right, he'd start slapping you in the face. Yeah, but I wanted to go. I told my dad, I said, I want to go. Oh,
He probably
all
didn't.
my buddies was going, see?
But he probably didn't want you to go.
Oh, God, no. He was,
He knew what
Yeah.
you were going to see.
yeah. I asked my dad, I said, what kind of rank did you have? I forget what he said. I said, what was your job? He said, I was a yard bird. And I said, a yard bird? He said, yeah. I said, what the hell was a yard bird? He said, I went behind the mules and the horses, picking up the shit. That was my job, he said. So, my dad was a good man. He could be awful mean. You know, raising 4 boys. So, my brother just passed away last year. He'd be 100 now. So, yeah, that's my 2 brothers, my sister in that picture.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's my 3 brothers. They were in the Coast Guard. I'm
Yeah.
in the middle there standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's my brother and sister. They're both gone now. They did. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah,
My father's family, I had uncles that served in the Second World War, and both in the Pacific Theater and in Europe. And they never talked about anything.
yeah,
I know it was bad because I seen pictures of my father when he was in the jungle. And
you did see that copy of that. God, I bet you'd love to have it. My story.
yeah, I seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
And
a lot
that's-
in there, a lot of stuff in there.
That's why I think it's important for me to do this interview with you, because I'm hoping, if you allow me, I want to turn it into a curriculum so I can go into classrooms and talk with kids, young people and others, but also have them do an assignment
Yeah,
and ask them, what do you know of the Second World War? What do you know about the Vietnam War? And ask them too, who do you think should be an American? Who should be able to vote? And to let them know that their contribution is important. So it's because of your story that got me excited about doing something like this.
I didn't know if I wasn't sick. When we do the next one, I'd have you come. It's open to all veterans at our schools.
I'd love to.
Yeah, and you can talk. You can say, you can talk your experience.
Well, see, I used to teach.
Huh?
I used to teach.
Yeah,
And so, but you have a story that's very, very unique. And also, that's why we want to name our group the John Gualtier Veterans Group. We have a lot of respect for what you've done, and hope that we continue your legacy.
and, you know, I was ambitious. I was that way ever since I was born, I guess. I couldn't do enough. And I wanted to, in 1946 were starting to be the toughest years of my life. Because one night I turned on the radio and they were in Colorado or some big veterans hospital. And they saw interviewing veterans. And God dang, I started crying. I couldn't quit. I had to turn it off. I couldn't. I just, I had so many bad guys, you know, just, the guys, I don't know if I told you this, because I don't tell this what but we get people around. I have one of my best friends. He served 3 years in the Army. You know where he went? To Italy. So he comes down to McDonald's, sits there, and he's got to listen to us guys. And he said, I feel so bad, John. He said, but I had to go where they sit, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, those people, you might have saved a lot of lives. What your job was, I don't know. And I never make a guy feel bad because he never served or, you know, didn't get in combat. I never make him feel guilty.
That's good.
Because you can't, they had to do what the Army told them, or the military.
Yeah.
I got people, you know, I help people that you wouldn't believe how. I'd go in their homes if I had this couple that was sick, they had flu or something. I'd go in there in the morning, feed them, cook their breakfast, feed them. I did their shopping, stuff like that, and I did that to a lot of. I'll tell you a good one. These friends of mine. I was in the grocery store, Fairway, one day, and this gal was in there with this little baby at the cart. That baby was screaming like hell, you know, really. And I said to her, what's wrong? Oh, she said, I don't have any money to buy diapers. I don't have money to buy the milk. So I told her, let's start. You fill that cart up, and I paid. Okay. Well, what happened? My father-in-law saw me doing that. The hell he told my wife. So she tied it to me about going in there buying something. And I said, well, you know, she didn't have any money. Then she started laughing. I said, well, what are you laughing at now? She said, I did the same thing.
Well, John, you're a compassionate man.
Yeah.
You care about people.
Well, my buddy there, he's all upset at me because when I did the film, I never took no money. You know, not a penny. And he said, my God, you should have got paid for that. You should have. I would never take a nickel on 6 million people's lives to make a couple bucks.
Well, John, I'm gonna stop our interview right now.
Okay.
I'm hoping we can do this again.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for doing it.